Always darkest before the dawn? Does anyone rely on polls anymore? Here in Vegas, life is a game, and so is politics. Instead of following the news, we follow the money, the smart money. VegasElectionOdds.com did just that on September 16th. They juxtaposed the polls getting fluffed in the mainstream media, specifically The Guardian, with the wagering at 3 online sportsbooks, Bovada, BetOnline, and MyBookie. Why look at gambling odds instead of polls? First, Vegas Election Odds writes, the polls are often manipulated and manufactured in order to influence public perception and sway the masses. Secondly, political polls simply are not reliable due to the many variables involved. To that end, writes Vegas Election Odds, The Guardian has attempted to clarify obfuscate things by presenting its own unsound and arbitrary polling aggregator to show that Joe Biden is surely going to win the election. The Guardian, like other mainstream news media, appears to omit recent polls showing the Donald leading in Florida, North Carolina, Michigan and elsewhere. Orange man bad. Rasmussen Reports called out this national poll suppression at the end of August. This was right after the Republican National Convention seems to have wiped the floor with the DNC, if you include independent reviews, digital and C-SPAN ratings. So why would a sportsbook's odds be any better? It is in their best interest to achieve a clear and concise understanding of how the voters are leaning, the site states, in order to ensure the integrity of the betting action and to minimize their risks. In other words, the smart money says, tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Critics allege mainstream polls oversample Democrats and focus on registered voters versus likely voters, skewing the results. So does using push poll questions to get a desired answer, and using opt-in polls that don't attract a random sample. Another major factor in 2020? The potential shy Trump voter. CNN calls shy Trump voters likely a myth, but does anyone still believe CNN about anything? According to surveys by Rasmussen Reports and CloudResearch, Trump voters are more than twice as likely to not tell others who they're voting for. From my own conversations, I'd guess it's more than that. Why would CNN's polling be any more accurate than their reporting? Rasmussen also found that of the 42% of people who experienced violent protests in and around their Democrat-led cities, a strong majority favor Trump. I think it widens the silent majority, said former Representative Jason Lewis, a GOP candidate for the U.S. Senate from riot-hit Minnesota. So remember the silent majority from the Nixon era we were talking about, but now you really expand that because the riots are trying to intimidate people, right? Trying to get everybody to conform, which is the goal of the cancel culture and everything else. But all that does is drive people underground, Lewis said.